A bit of a running gag on Fox Footy throughout the 2024 season was their Premiership Window. On the x-axis of the window is the points for of a team, and on the y-axis sits the points against. Ideally, you want your club to be in the top right-hand corner, which would mean they have scored the most total points and conceded the least total points. This is one variation of the Premiership Window, and it's a term we hear all the time. Every club wants to be in a period where they are in this magical Premiership Window, but does it even exist? Can a club, through various factors, set themselves up and declare to themselves they are in a window to get to grand finals? It's easy saying it out loud to sell to fans, but the proof of this window existing isn't so clear. But back to Fox Footy and the window's number one cheerleader in Gary Lyon.
You cannot win the premiership because you're not in the window. And lo and behold, what happened? What happened? People, we can tell you, the final started one by one. Geelong drops out, one by one. Port Adelaide are gone. The Giants are nowhere to be seen. And then last Saturday, we went in there and we told you the Brisbane Lions were the only team in the window. Sydney had dropped out. We said they can't win. We said the Lions are going to win. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? I've done it again. The window lives.
Going into the 2024 Grand Final, the window made one thing clear: Sydney had no shot in the game. Heading into the decider, the last 19 premiers had all been at least top 6 for points against in the home and away season. We can now make that 20. Sydney got blown away, and Brisbane, who were second for points against, continued on the trend. With the Lions winning it, it also means 18 of the last 20 premiers sat top 6 in points for as well. I guess this is the closest thing we have to a premiership window, but it does have some flaws. First of all, it can't be seen before the season starts, so it's really no use to clubs wondering where they sit in the mix. And to get a really clear picture, it probably takes around 2 months of games to start sorting out where teams belong. There is also some inflation in it. Sydney's heavy loss to Port Adelaide, which was an aberration, means their total points against was not entirely accurate of how well they defended for the season, and for a club like Hawthorn, who won their round 24 game against North Melbourne, scoring 170 points, it makes their offense look slightly better than it was. The totals of each of the club's points for and against are very close, so these type of results might move a team up or down 2 or 3 spots from where they should really sit. Still, there is something in this, especially with the total points against metric. It does seem in modern times you need to be around the top 4 for conceding points to have a real shot. But that's about it for Fox Footy's Premiership Window. What about the actual term itself? Well, let's start with age and experience. Surely there is an ideal average age of a group or games played on average that fits a window for premierships. Brisbane last year was 6th in the competition for both average age and average games per player. In 2023, Collingwood ranked 4th for age and 5th for games experience, and in 2022, Geelong put out the oldest side ever to play a game in that year's grand final. But this is only the recent past. Richmond's 2017 side was 6th for average age, and by 2020, they actually fell to fit in as the 10th youngest side in the competition. The Western Bulldogs in 2016 were the 13th youngest side and 10th for games experience, and Hawthorn in 2008 had a similar age demographic. But there is a bit of a trend. Hawthorn's three-peat run in the mid-2010s saw the club finish no lower than 6th in either category, and 2011 premiers in Geelong and 2012 premiers in Sydney were both the oldest lists in their respective seasons. Like with the Fox Footy window, being in and around that top 6 mark for age and experience is a positive sign, but there is no guarantee of success having an older team. On a scale, being slightly older seems generally more beneficial than being younger, but there are a lot of examples of young sides going all the way. So what about the results of the previous season? We know Brisbane were in finals every year since 2019 and top 4 in 4 of those years, and were in the 2023 grand final. So there must be a sign that the previous season's results are at least a little bit important. Well, 22 of the last 25 premiers, or 88%, made finals the previous year. That's a good strike rate, with Geelong in 2007, Richmond in 2017 and Melbourne in 2021, the only 3 sides that the previous year did not qualify in the top 8. 17 of the 25 also finished top 4 the previous year. It's clear from this that being at least a top 8 side shows going into a new year, you are around the mark of other grand final winners. Alongside age and experience, there isn't much else anyone can measure to try and place a team in this so-called Premiership window. The rest is from people's opinions about the quality of the list and the ability of the coaches to get the best out of it. So from these couple factors, the best chance of being in the window seems to be having a top 6 list for age and experience in a given season and making the top 8 the previous year. For some fun, let's apply this to the current 2025 list. There are only 3 clubs that meet the criteria. Brisbane, who won the grand final last year, sits second in both age and games played per player. The Western Bulldogs, who finished 6th, are 3rd for average age and 5th for average games per player. And the third side is Geelong. They placed 3rd last year, surprisingly are only 5th for average age but 3rd for games per player. Runners up in Sydney just miss out because they sit 7th in age. Carlton also sits 7th for experience, while other top 8 sides in GWS and Port Adelaide sit bottom 8 in both categories, while Collingwood and Melbourne, who are both top 6 for age and games but missed out on finals in 2024. But it's a good thing there is no perfect premiership window. We don't want to become the Premier League, but realistically only 3 or 4 sides can win each year, and hope your side can get on a roll vanishes before the season even starts. 2024 was the best example of this. Hawthorn were 0-5, and by the end of the home and away season led most significant metrics alongside the Western Bulldogs. Brisbane's early season injuries actually made them, with Kadeen Coleman going out with an ACL alongside Lincoln McCarthy and Darcy Gardner. It's unlikely Zorko would have been moved into defence. Kai Lohmann may have been stuck in the VFL, and the same can be said for 19-year-old Logan Morris. All these 3 players were key contributors in Brisbane's hot finals run, and all 3 were great on grand final day. So Fox Footy, and Gary Lyon specifically, can keep bragging about their premiership window. It's been right the last 20 times. If, by the end of round 24, a team is top 6 in points against, it is the best sign they might be able to go all the way in September.